So, with the release of the TDS Halloween event, TDS went ahead and reworked the slasher, and let me tell you, this tower is amazing now! From barely being able to handle the early waves, to be able to shredding Patient Zero like it was nothing. Slasher has definitely gotten a major buff. So, in this video, I will be showing a quick review on the new slasher, and my opinions on it, as well as some other opinions on it. And if you want to see more videos like this, please like, subscribe, and comment down below, and join the Discord server. I forgot to plug that in my last video, which went crazy by the way. Thank you for everybody who's watched it, and who have subscribed, as we are on track to reaching 1,000 subscribers by the end of October. So if you can please subscribe, it would absolutely mean the world to me. And with that out of the way, on to the video. So Slasher, in my opinion, is a really good tower. It can do tons of damage and absolutely shreds hordes of enemies when it's maxed, however. But its early levels kind of fall short in terms of damage. So starting on level 0, it has a range of 5, it does 6 damage, and has a range of 0.4. And I'm just going to move straight into level 1 as well, because all it does is reduce the fire rate to 0.3.5 I mean, and gives it hidden detection. But the main feature of this tower is its critical hit. Like the Warden, after a few hits, 3 to be exactly, Slasher's attack is increased and does 15 damage. And every level this also increases. And this is the main reason why Slasher is so good. Because as you upgrade it, the critical damage gets higher. So you can do so much damage. But we're not there yet. On level 2, it does 20 damage, has a tiny bit more range, and has a critical damage of 50. But the fire rate increases to 0.7, which is the main problem I think people have with this tower. As for level 2, you have to spend $5,800 just to nerf your slasher. So now it can't get as many hits on enemies like it did before, which is the main reason why I think people don't like this tower. Because I will say this, Slasher does do worse on level 2, at least in my opinion, compared to level 1 and 0, because of the fire rate. And if you don't like it because of how this is, I can agree with that. I didn't like it when Golden Croak Boss was nerfed, when you had to spend all that money on its 3rd upgrade when it first was reworked a while ago. But getting a commander kind of fixes this problem. And if you think it's bad to a lack of damage, you're retarded. On level 3, it does 45 damage and a critical damage of 135, which is a crazy amount of damage already, and we're only on the 2nd and final level. And its fire rate is reduced to 0.6, which helps it use its higher damage much better. And one thing I forgot on level 2 was the bleeding mechanic. The bleed mechanic is after the slasher is done attacking an enemy that gets out of range, it will have a bleed debuff that slowly chips away an enemy's health. And this can either kill the enemy because the slasher did so much damage to it that after it got out of range, it just kills it, because after each slash, the bleeding stacks, all the way up to 30 by the way, or it weakens them a little bit so any defense you put in the back has an easier time killing the enemy. Or if you're playing on a map with a loop, like I do with this slasher, because I think that's best for melee troops, as it comes back a little bit weaker after Slasher dealt with it, Slasher just kills it. So that's basically the bleed mechanic. But if you barely do any damage, the bleed mechanic isn't going to do that much. So if you're using the Slasher and you want to utilize the bleed mechanic to the best of its abilities, just use it on a loop. So whatever the Slasher doesn't deal with on the first time it attacks the enemy, as soon as it comes back around a little weaker, it'll still be able to do a lot of damage. I also think level 3 is the best level to spam because it attacks a little faster than level 2. It's not as expensive as the max level, but can still do a lot of damage. But I still recommend at least maxing a few slashers, as their max damage is still a lot. But moving on to level 4 is when Slasher's real damage comes, as it does 60 damage regularly, which is already a lot of damage, but does 210 critical damage, which is just an insane amount of damage. It also gets a range of 6 and a fire rate of 0.5, which is almost level 0's fire rate, just a tad bit slower, but that doesn't matter as it makes it up in its damage. Because Not only can Slasher shred the Molten boss, but also Patient Zero, doing thousands of damage to both bosses when all the slashers are locking onto it. And I would like to use this in Fallen mode if Fallen mode wasn't so annoying. If you want to see my new personal beef with Fallen mode, then check this video out. So I only showed off Slasher's full power in intermediate mode, but that's fine because it's a pretty challenging mode still, and can still show you how strong Slasher really is. And seeing Patient Zero's health go down so fast like it was being targeted by a bunch of accelerators is so satisfying. And did I mention it only has a placement limit of 12? Yes, you are only allowed to get 12 Slashers, which I can see why, as if you're allowed to get 40 Slashers, it would just be unfairly easy. They would absolutely destroy everything. And yeah, that's my review of this tower. I think it's an amazing rework, and they buffed it a lot, and now Slasher is a B to A tier tower. I wouldn't call it an S tier, but it is still a pretty good tower. It made you tons of damage, but its price is a little much. But getting a DJ and Commander solves most of those problems. But some people think this tower's garbage. But riddle me this, Egg Ripted. If you think this tower is so trash, but you lost on Molten mode, but I can win on Intermediate mode, then there's a problem. And you can say, oh, but you had supports. Well, yeah, I had supports. That's what every tower needs to solo all the modes. Even the Gatling Gun, Engineer, Golden Mini Gunner, and Accelerator need support towers to help them solo modes like Fallen mode. So yeah, that's why I use supports. So if you can't tell by that little rant, I mostly made this video because I think Egg Ripted's opinion is stupid, and showing you how to use Slasher on a terrible map for it, with no supports at all, is very, very retarded. So, Egg Ripted, if you somehow see this, put some effort in showing off this tower's full strength, and not just showing it lose to Molten Boss, and calling it bad, because that just makes you look like an idiot. So, next time do better. I like you, man, but that was a little too stupid for me. Like, I felt like you could have done better there, bro. But with that little rant out of the way, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe and comment down more for more videos like this, as these are pretty fun to make, actually. And I will like to do more of these in the future. And with that, I will see you in another video. Goodbye!